Hello, everybody. It is I, Becca Lori Hector, here with Being Becca Live. Welcome back to it, you guys. Let me just get comfortable here for a second. I kind of was in the middle of something. And you know how when you're like in the middle of something, you're like, I don't know. I just need a minute. Sorry. I don't know. I'm all distracted. Anyway. Welcome back to Being Becca Live. As always, this is like our little self-defined living support groupy thing. Just a real talk about what it's like to be an autistic adult alive right now, right here. And so that's what we're all about here. And I just want to do a little updating. So for those of you that don't just watch Being Becca Live, but also watch Growing Gratitude, I want to thank you guys so much, because since I put Growing Gratitude up, I have just been getting so many well wishes for Antonio, so much support from you guys, and so many people just that are kind of quiet on the channel, that follow the channel, I guess, and don't really interact. And that's fine by me, because I'm one of those people too. I that's how I do YouTube. So, but people like that reaching out and saying that how grateful they are for the stuff that I do, and wanting to help and wanting to support, and wanting Antonio to get better and all of those things. So, as I told people on Growing Gratitude, if you would like to help and you would like to support the work that I do, and you would like the content to continue coming, and you'd like to see what future projects I come up with and all of that stuff, in the description of this video and also in the about section on the channel, I have put all the links I can think of. So there is a link to my Ko-Fi there, where you can just donate, or you can commission me for some things. That's option is there as well. And then I also put the link to the Self-Defined Living Redbubble store, which is right now, it's any gear you want, with 3 designs that I made recently. So those are there, and that helps me, that supports me as well. It shows me that you support my work and you want more of it. And what else? Oh, and then of course you can always sponsor other autistic adults to take the course that I designed, Self-Defined Living, which is another way to support me and the work that I do, and others as well. That's what I got for you right now. I'm working on more things. I want to put together some seminars on one-off seminars for the folks that have already been through Self-Defined Living and want to continue their journey. And I'll also be putting together some things that are more tangible for you guys. Like I'm working on a calendar and also a nighttime affirmations book that goes along with it. So that's the kind of stuff that you'd be supporting if you went through any of those channels, because it all comes to me. So I appreciate that. And what else can I share with you? Oh, and Antonio, update on Antonio. We still we're in the dark since the last time I saw you. I just spoke to you guys about it on Sunday that Antonio broke his finger, unfortunately. And that means that half of our income just disappeared. So it's been an interesting few days since I saw you guys, and I don't really have an update on his physical condition yet, though I will on Sunday for Growing Gratitude, because tomorrow he and I are venturing down the mountain once again into Denver to see the specialist about his hand and schedule the surgery and all of that really, really, really fun stuff. So that is kind of what's going on and where I'm at, I guess. Yes, you guys, May did her magic. I should probably send her this link and send her the link from before this, so she knows I talk about it on the internet. How weird, right? Yeah, she did her magic. So we talked about color. We mixed the color together. This is the first day post shower. So I got my crazy Einstein hair back. She made it all straight and pretty and all kinds of stuff. And I have my Einstein hair back, and it's the color that I dreamed of when I went in there. Like we kind of just gelled, and she just, I don't know, she just gets it. She just gets me, and we kind of enjoy the ride of it all with each other. And this is it. So I went back to green. I decided to add a little bit more green in the front and little things like that, because green is my favorite color in the whole world, and it brings me joy. And so I decided that I wanted some more flavor and some more fun, and I enjoy and more joy. And so this is what I did. And so thank you, May. It's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. And of course it came out perfect. Thank you. And yeah, so that's it. And I'm kind of back in that gear, now I got my hair cut. I'm all set. Antonio cut his hair off. you guys. He was growing it out this whole time for quarantine, and he just cut it off, like all off. It was great. It was so satisfying to watch. It was satisfying for May. It was really just one of those moments where you're like, ASMR, I should be videoing this. It was just clumps of hair. Anyway, side note of that, not about being back alive. So that's what's going on in my life. That's a little update of, because so much has kind of gone on since Sunday. I just wanted to update you guys on that. And of course, if I do want to say that if you are not in a financial position to support me in a financial way, I, of course, appreciate, love, and adore you guys for your thumbs up, for your shares, for your interactions, for just being here. So, don't feel pressured to have to do that either. My money problems are not your money problems. And so that's kind of where I'm at. But, in honor of my authenticity and my vulnerability, I share that stuff with you guys because it's a ride, right? I don't, and kind of, pretending that it's all always okay and that somehow I'm immune from struggling with the things that other autistic adults struggle with. That bothers me. And I'm not immune to the employment struggles. I'm not immune to the difficulties with stuff. Here's another thing I'm struggling with right at this moment that I just hit me this morning. So here in the United States, we've had a couple of little bailout programs and things like that. And the first one about having to do with paychecks and and payroll and things like that was very small and was not really in favor of small business. This go around, it's more in favor of small business and they're asking for less stuff, but somehow when Becca fills out the forms, they need more stuff, right? Even though they say they're making it so easy, it was endlessly complicated for me. I had like 3 panic attacks filling out the form. I needed 2 people to help me. Okay. Like really not high functioning, right? Really needed a lot of supports on this. And still I got an email back today that they somehow want me to show them payroll when it is I that pays because it is just I that runs this business. So there is no payroll, right? So I don't know what to do about that. And I'm going to have to go about figuring it out because I could really use a little bit of some of the cash that they are giving away. So we will get back to that. But I just don't want you guys to imagine that I sit here, go and get my hair colored and life is all hunky-dory again, because it's not. Though I love my hair color very much and it is part of my self-care, it doesn't make all the problems go away. And my life isn't perfect 3 days later. It's not. It's still a mess and I'm still struggling and I'm still trying to figure it all out. So that's the truth. So that Becca, is not the topic for today on Being Becca Live, though it sounds like it so far, 8 minutes in. Gross. So let's move on to the topic that I want to talk about today, need to talk about. We need to talk about this topic. So if you are in the closed Self-Defined Living Facebook group, you saw a preview of this article that I'm going to talk about today. So I tossed it into the group because I thought it was interesting. Like I read it, and genuinely when I get a vibe on something and stuff, and I want to know if it vibes with other people, I want to know from like-minded people if it vibes with them. And that's my Self-Defined Living crew. So I threw the article in the closed group and I was just like, I thought this was interesting. Well, you guys responded in the closed group and I thought, well, yes, it is. We talked about muckiness. Murky. That's another good one. Another fun one to say. So friendships are mucky, but right. This piece is murky. That's the word I'm going to use for this word, right? Because it's a murky place, what we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about toxic people and toxic relationships. So what I did, I'd been thinking about, wow, did you see how I had 4 different thoughts at the same time? Okay, so I do Asking Spectrum Women, which is back this month, by the way, you guys. It's out and up on the channel if you want to catch it. But I do that. And so I get questions in from people. And a lot of the times I get questions about how can I catch these toxic people before I let them do what they do to me every single time. I'm autistic. I miss it. Right. And so that is like a question I get, I would say almost every go around. Well, I saw this article. Right. I get to the article now. Saw the article, posted it in the closed group. And we were just kind of talking about how it's so murky, this whole area. And how do you, as an autistic person, and people say we're naive. It's not that we're naive. It's that we choose to believe that other people are like us. In fact, it's theory of mind that gets us in this trouble, because we choose to believe that all people are honest and truthful and direct and say what they mean and all of those things, right? So every time we meet someone, we go into it with that, right, theory of mind. And the truth is, what we need to do is step into relationships remembering that we are the minority, and chances are that the people that we're engaging with aren't going to be like us, right? And so we need to start engaging in relationships, coming to it in that theory of mind rather than the theory of mind that everyone's like us, because we're more rare. Yes, we are. So we are more rare. And that's what we need to remember. But here's what happened, right? We talked about it in there because the title of the article, and I kept it up, I think. There it is. Okay. 12 actions a person with a hidden agenda displays before revealing themselves. And I liked this article and thought it was interesting because it was so tangible, right? It was so like, just so 12 actions. So things that people who are toxic do, they actively do, stuff that we can quantify, stuff that we can observe, right? As we observe everything else. And I liked it. Yes, Bernard, the title was enticing. And I do think that it was interesting. So it's called this thing. So it's the hidden agenda, essentially, of toxic people. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. I wonder what it is that we miss, right? If they do these 12 actions, these toxic people, before they actually show their toxic nature, right? What are they and why are we missing them? Became the question in my mind, right? Okay. So we started to talk about it in group. And I think we need to talk about it here. I think we need to talk about it in terms of, yes, exactly, Joe. Literal, factual, helpful advice. Exactly. That's how it felt to me, like the meat. And it was the first time I'd seen an article about toxic people that felt so tangible to me. That's why I found it interesting and worth the share. What I think we should do here, so there's 12 actions, right? And I figured if we do it in 2 parts, we can do 6 actions on this live, and next live I can do the other 6 actions. But I think if we look at those things, so remember, the article is being written for the majority, not us, not the minority, right? So it's being written for neurotypical people, these actions. And what I want to know is, okay, this is what neurotypical people see in toxic people, the actions that they see, right? Why are we missing it? What is it, right? So let's go, I think, right? Let's explore. Let's just go on an exploration of the murky waters of fucking toxic people. I will take the fucking out of the title, but you know what I mean, right? So let's get into it, because I just think it's interesting. And after I do today's live stream, if I see you guys aren't giving me thumbs up and I see nobody's viewing it and I see blah, 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 maybe next week I won't do the other 6, but I'm coming back to them because I'm interested. And so, like I always tell you guys, I don't do things with my spoons that I don't think are valuable. So I try to make use of the time that I spend doing our live streams together. So get with it, I guess. I don't know. So let's start, right? I don't even want to read the little story time nonsense in the beginning, like the intro paragraph and all of that. I'm jumping right to the 1, 2, 3, right to the list, right? Red flags, someone has a hidden agenda. Now, they say hidden agenda. I say toxic people. They say, they throw toxic in here in this article as well, toxic relationships, things like that. Someone who has a hidden agenda, meaning they are actively hiding what their purpose is, right? From the scenario, right? That is toxic behavior to me. And that is manipulative behavior. Manipulation is toxic behavior. So interchangeably, someone who has a hidden agenda and someone who is toxic means the same thing to me. So that's how we're going to roll with it. Okay. So he triggers gut feelings. This one I love. Now, right away. Number 1, here we are. Right away, you guys. Triggers gut feelings. What's the one thing that I say all the time? After a lifetime without a diagnosis, being told that your instincts are wrong all the time, you no longer trust your gut, right? You no longer pay attention to your gut feelings. Additionally, some of us struggle with interoception, that body and the brain connection, right? And so, of course, we don't feel our gut feelings. Well, there's number 1 for you. We'll miss that one every single time, right? Absolutely. Okay, moving along. 2, you catch her in lies. Ooh, you guys. Now, this one is big for us, right? We're not good. We're just not good at it. We don't want to believe, again, it's the entering in theory of mind. We don't want to believe that people are liars. We don't want to believe that people would actively take their energy and use it to pretend, right? To make pretend. I don't know what else to call it. We just don't get that, and we don't function that way. And so we actively in relationships assume the other person is also not going to lie. Wah, wah. Number 2, of course, we're not going to notice a toxic person lying because we don't read the lies, right? And when we do feel like we've had a lie, who feels like they're bad for it? We do. We usually take the fault on it. Must be our fault that they're lying to us. We need to be a better friend, right? Okay. No, right? So already 1 and 2, we're out. So out of the 12 actions, we've missed 2 already. Okay, here we go. Oh, there's a little video in here. I might throw that into the group too. Number 3, she talks about her favorite subject, herself. Okay, this one is interesting. This one we're going to spend some moments peeling apart because in a lot of ways, right? So they go into it and they talk about narcissism and in egomaniacs, right? In this number 3, right? She talks about her favorite subject, herself. I know tons of autistic people that don't have a lot of outside social experiences. And so they naturally talk about themselves and their interest, and because it's what they know the best and what they know to talk about, right? And so a lot of us have to really make an effort to learn the social skill of engaging with others and asking other people what their interests are and all of that, right? So a lot of times we get mistaken for narcissistics, and we get mistaken as egomaniacs because we seem to only want to talk about what we want to talk about, like our special interests or like our experiences, right? And the things that we know, because we're already struggling with the social connection here, right? Okay, and that can sometimes read as narcissism. But what we're talking about here is someone who, no matter where you're at and what you're doing, right, and who you're talking about or the situation you're asking advice about, blah, 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 within seconds, they turn it around on them. I call them me people, right? The look at me people have to be look at me. If you're doing something cool over there, I have to do something bigger and cooler over here, right? And that they are kind of doing that kind of behavior. That's the narcissistic behavior, I think, that they're really discussing, right? There's a difference between being self-centered in your topics and needing every topic to be about you, right? Difference. But what I wanted us to also notice is that because of that weird theory of mind thing, and we enter in thinking people are like us, when they talk about themselves all the time, we don't think it's weird, right? When they do that, not weird to us. We just think, oh, well, okay, maybe we can share a special interest or something, and then we'll talk about that all the time, right? We just don't, the alarm for that doesn't go off, right? Because a lot of it mimics our own behaviors, right? And so that's number 3. Not only is it a confusing one, right? Because talking about yourself can be for different whys, right? And it's confusing in that way. But I wish it really said, not that they talk about their favorite subject, but that their sole focus is themselves, right? Like everything, right? And so they have a really hard time with the one thing that autistics get accused of all the time, empathy, right? That's that toxic person they're describing, right? And so I can see how easily we would just go, oh, well, okay, you must be autistic then, right? And just keep going. So that's 3 now, 3 of them that we obviously would miss, right? At least on a regularity, we would miss, right? Okay. Here we go. Number 4, he is on a mission. Again, I don't know if I would describe it that way, but let's use some of the words that they use. So when people, I guess what I want to say is they use you. That's what they're really describing with number 4 is that when people pay attention to you or they're nice to you, it's not because they genuinely want to be, but because they have a hidden agenda. They have a goal in mind, and you are one of the tools they are using to get there, right? Here's the trap for autistics. We meet people like that, and those people love to like lift us up. They love to give us fake love, I want to say, right? Where they'll say, oh, thank you so much for, tell me if you've heard this. Thank you so much for helping me with this thing. It worked out so well. I really appreciate it. I'm going to come to you every time I need this kind of help, right? We hear that all the time as autistics, because when we're really good at something, we're really good at it, right? And the opposite crux of that, the reason for that is that danger, that trap of people pleasing, right? We just want to be liked for God, we just want to be liked, right? And in the adventure and in seeking out that connection and wanting to be liked by other people, when people are grateful for our help, we just want to do it again, right? And we put ourselves in a loop of getting used, right? We forget to ask for something in return, or we don't ask to be paid, right? Or any number of other things, right? Where we're just doing the people pleasing. And so when someone who's toxic is on a mission to get something done, all they have to do is kind of, pet us a lot, right? They tell us how good we are, how much of our help they appreciate, how much they need us, right? And they don't, those are words that they're using, right? But when we hear that, we just want to do more, right? And so easily we would miss number 4. We would just see it as a friend who needs help, and we just want to keep helping them, right? And I think that's why we endlessly get used, endlessly. So number 4, that's what that one really is about to me, in any case. Here's a humdinger for us, you guys. This one might actually be one we can do. Alone, though, useless. Here we go. You observe signs of hypocrisy. Okay. Hypocrisy. Well, you guys, there is one place where I absolutely know hypocrisy exists. Oh, absolutely. Ding, ding, ding. Autism community. Absolutely, right? We see hypocrisy all the time there. We're getting a lot better, right, at recognizing hypocrisy. And autistics actually notice hypocrisy a lot more often and more easily than neurotypicals do. It's something that we happen to be really good at. Here's the thing. Hypocrisy by itself does not a toxic person make, right? If we just see that hypocrisy all by itself, we're probably looking at somewhere around 90% of the population, right? And they're all not toxic. Some of them have learned that awful habit, right? And just do it as a habit. It's the way that they learned, right? All right. So hypocrisy, this one, it's got a pocket, but I can also see where we would, again, if we really don't believe in ourselves, where we could be gaslit in a hypocrisy kind of situation, where even if we know the truth, what we're going to be told is that's not the truth, right? Okay, so it's a weird one. Sometimes we might get it, sometimes we might not, but I'd say number 5 might be our luckiest shot at finding a toxic person. But I mean, you're right, I guess. You know what? Who just said that? Bernard, hypocrisy is full of logical fallacies, and we're logical. Yes, I think that's why you're right. It's probably why we see hypocrisy so easily. It's just an illogical thing, and illogical things stand out to our pattern liking brains and stuff like that, right? So that's a good one to keep in mind, I guess, in terms of toxic people. It's also a good thing to keep in mind in general about people that you don't want in your life. Right? I mean, if someone's a hypocrite, who wants that? And if they don't even see their own hypocrisy, I could waste spoons on that forever. Okay. On we go. Number 6. He is obsessive about a subject. Again, we're in this. It's another one of those situations where we would easily just go, oh, they're autistic, right? I mean, I would just recognize myself in that they're obsessive about a subject, right? I mean, again, alone and by itself, this obsessive about a subject thing can describe any number of people, right? And it's just like hypocrisy, but it's I guess, this list is helping us to kind of look at what are the things that we could be putting together. So if I see hypocrisy and I see an obsession on a subject, does that then make my lights go off? Should that be enough for my autistic brain? But at the same time, I would look at someone obsessive about a subject and go, I know how that feels. And I want to talk about my obsessive subjects, right? So I think it's again, a murky place, right? It's just a murky place for autistic brains to be in terms of social communication and social relationships, because again, that's one of the places we struggle. So those are the first 6 of these things, you guys. And I know I could go on and on and on and on and go through all of them. But I just, I am in awe almost, right, of how spelled out it is that if you if you are a person with a hidden agenda, that you should head right to your closest autistic person, because we're going to fall right for it. So the reason I want to talk about this is because a lot of us beat ourselves up continuously for falling for it again. And we use that term all the time. We fell for it again. We fell for it again. Oh, another time, right? And it becomes our fault that they are terrible people, right? It becomes our mistake for liking a terrible person. And what I wanted to show with this article, and what we'll continue to talk about next week or the week after, whatever we decide to do, is how susceptible we are to the tactics that toxic people use. Literally, some of them we are blind to. We are blind to those tactics. And so what that means for us is it's really hard to see, right? How do autistic people spot a toxic person? We need to figure that part out. And maybe that's what the next part of the conversation is about. But I'm going to keep going. What I'm going to do is put a link to this article in this description also, just so that you guys have a reference for it. And if you want to go look at the other 6 or whatever. But yes, they are intentionally confusing. And that's the tactic, right? But it's just, we are so susceptible to those tactics. That's the word I want to use. We're not naive. We're just susceptible to those tactics. And now, like when you peel them apart, those actions, you can see why, right? And there's 6 more to go. I guarantee there's no way we know that we don't fall for all of those 6 all the time, just because of the way our brains are wired. And so what I want you guys to do is to be a little kinder to yourself about all the toxic people that you've fallen for in the past, right? And I also want you to be kinder to yourself about all of the toxic people you will run into in the future, right? We know they're out there, they outnumber us, and they just, I don't know. So I think what we need to do is do this, peel it apart, and then we'll figure out what it is that we can look for. What are the things that we notice as patterns in toxic people? Because I know I have a list of my own of the ways that I kind of root out the toxic people in my life, because I am that is a very strong boundary for me, is that toxic people boundary. Very strong. So we'll get there. We're going to unfold it all, unpack it all, if you guys are interested. So do me a favor. If you want me to continue on this topic, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know with your thumbs up. Let me know somehow so that I can continue. You can always email me, of course. That's going to be it for me today. I think the murky waters of toxic people is something that we need to find autistic cues for. So we're going to unpack this article and figure it out for ourselves. Gosh darn it. That's what we're going to do. All right. So, oh, that's a good detector. Really, Bernard? He notices that toxic people make him sleepy. They do. They bore. Are they boring to you? They're a little boring to me as well. That's something I do notice. Yes. Yes, exactly. It's hard. It's hard to become it's easy to become. Yes, it's easy to become cynical. And I think a lot of us are. I think a lot of us are become negative, cynical people because of all of these repeat experiences, right? But what we have to do is beat our brains at this one. We have to get better at looking at other clues and finding our own triggers for toxic people and putting up that strong boundary, because they can cause chaos in your life with just one phone call. They just know how to do it. I don't know. That's the way it is. Anyway, enough about that. Let's just move on with our day. We've talked about toxic people. If you have other thoughts about this topic, if you want to see me move on and shut up, if you would like to read the article, it'll be in the description. Yeah, and everything we talked about in the beginning. My Ko-Fi is in the description. The Redbubble store is in the description. The sponsors link is in the description. All of that. My email is there as well if you feel like emailing. And all that stuff. In the meantime, have an amazing day. Try to avoid the people that do these things that we cannot see, right? Or at least think about your past experiences with them, right? I don't know. We'll see. And until then, I guess you guys, I'm out of here. Oh, I know what I forgot to say. Yes, another reminder. So the newsletter came out this morning. I hope you guys got it and enjoyed it. And also, it was all about self-love. Aren't I clever? Such a good one. I really, really like this this issue. Anyway, but the newsletter came out this morning. And then the course is starting on February 17th. If you have not registered yet and you really want to take the course, please register. At least register for Unit 1. I only have a few seats left. I'm working to see if I can get them covered by scholarship. But at the moment, I have no scholarship seats left, but I only have a few seats, period, left in this cohort. So if you're interested, get in there now before the seats close up, because we start on the 17th. And until then, I will see you guys out and about on the interweb as always. And then of course I'll see you on Sunday for Growing Gratitude. Until then, let me know what you think about all of this with your thumbs up or your thumbs down. I appreciate your shares very much. I appreciate your thumbs up very much. And any other way that you can let me know that you like the work that I'm doing and you want me to keep doing it. That's all. Have an amazing Tuesday. I will see you on Sunday. Don't forget to pay attention to your gratitude so you have them ready for Sunday like I do. And I will see you around. Have a good one, you guys.